Oh, hey, so we are streaming simultaneously on YouTube and Facebook. Welcome to our live stream today. And we're going to talk about three reasons why you think slow in English and how to fix your brain to mouth connection. We've all been there. So as we progress in our English and speaking style, you tend to have this thinking that you know all the words and phrases or sentences that you would like to say. But when you are talking to a foreigner or from people from other regions, you tend to freeze and you forget all the things that you would like to say. And we have an analogy later that I will explain. Okay. So you should stop the internal translation and start speaking with authority. So if you overthink in your own language, maybe you're a Japanese or you're Thai or you're from Spain or European or any other Southeast Asian country. So if you are from those regions and you are dealing with foreigners and high stakes meetings, you're always in a high stake meeting, and you would like to explain a complex idea, you tend to freeze and you don't know what to do. That's because of the situation where you overload your there's a cognitive overload or you overload your brain with too much overthinking. So overthinking is dangerous. It makes the computer slow. And you might have heard the term bottleneck. So what is a bottleneck? If you visualize a bottleneck, it's like this. Here it's wide, but here there's a narrow portion of the bottle. So if you're trying to fill up this bottle with, let's say, Coke or soda, if it's just a teaspoon or 5 tablespoons, that's fine, right? But once you insert like you fill it up with like a gallon of water or soda, it will take forever. So it's like 10 minutes and you're waiting for the bottle to have the soda that you would like to drink or the water that you'd like to drink. So that's the bottleneck situation. And we normally use this in management, like when you have a staff that you give too much work. So it could be like a bottleneck situation. So it's the same thing with English. So if English is not your first language and you just learned English when you started learning English in high school, so that can be the situation because your brain tends to gatekeep. That's a term, gatekeep. Your brain gatekeeps the information from entering. So it learned your first language. So for instance, you're Thai or you're Japanese, and you first learned your first language, and after your first year as a baby, your brain tends to gatekeep other languages. So it stops from entertaining those new sounds. So it will just entertain thoughts in your native language. That's why many parents they would like early intervention if you heard about that. So as early as 1 year old, 2 year old, they want their kids or babies to be exposed to native speakers because that's neuroplasticity. But don't worry, even if you're a grown up, there's a hack for that I will teach you. Next is the translation trap. So let's say it's not just Thai. Most of our students these days they are Thai. So let's say you're Japanese or Spanish. So you have your own language syntax, right? And that's not equivalent to English syntax. And if you're going to translate everything mentally, that will double the workload of your brain. So times two, 2x, like what they say these days, 2x of your brain power. Imagine you heard the sentence in English in your brain, you're going to process it and translate it to your own language, and then you're going to think again to respond in English, and that delays. That's the bottleneck situation. It overloads, or if you're in IT, you know that RAM, we have RAM or random access memory. Sometimes it clutters, right? So if the machine thinks too much, there will be cluttering, and you need to clear that once in a while. So in my PC, or when I'm using my computer, I use software to declutter the memory. So every day, we as humans, we also have that thing called like a cognitive load. So it increases your cognitive load if you translate too much. So that's the translation trap. And the fix and the technique is you need to think in phrasal chunks. So not just vocabulary. So most of my students, they say, "Teacher, I want to learn vocabulary," but that's not enough. So these days, the most important technique is you learn in chunks. So learn in phrases. If it's possible for you to memorize a sentence, the usual sentence that a native speaker or is using, like everyday conversation, do it. So once you get the rhythm and you practice how they say those phrases, like common phrases, like that's why we have in our live sessions, we also have the phrasal verbs. If you know that, if you watch our previous videos, we have phrasal verbs. So that's the shortcut, or that will make it faster for you to cope with the pace of a native speaker. So don't just memorize the vocabulary words. And if you have a list of vocabulary words or phrasal verbs, try to have a theme. So, for example, the theme for today is about HR, or how do you answer an interview, or if your field is in the medical professions, like we have most of our followers these days, they are in the healthcare uh, industry. So for healthcare, yeah, you have your phrasal verbs that are commonly used in healthcare, in IT, in marketing. We have HR too. So you should be familiar with those phrasal chunks. Next is the perfect trap. So it's common. You want to be perfect. Me too. I want to be perfect. I want to be very detailed, and like when you analyze my sentences, I want it to sound so crisp and so smooth. But it's really impossible to achieve that. So if you want to move on, just accept your mistakes, okay? And if you're open to that, and you're not that vain to be someone to be viewed as someone who has a flaw, that's fine. So that's how you start learning. Try to embrace your flaws, okay? And one technique is you can record yourself. So you can record using your mobile phone. So you record maybe phrases, common phrases, and then you record like that, and then try to rewatch. And these days, it's so easy. If you don't like your sound, the way you look, the way you sound, the way you project yourself, you can just delete it. No problem. So no one will see it, just you. Okay. So during the old days, I keep the recorder. So I have the tape recorder. But these days, it's so easy. We all have mobile phones. So if you're not comfortable recording a video of yourself, you can just record using audio. And another fix is prioritize the rhythm of authority over perfection. So, what is the rhythm of authority? It's like a song, like in music. So we have the rhythm. We have 3/4 beat, like 1 2 3, 1 2 3. We have 4/4, 1 2 3 4. So you should master the rhythm. Language is an art. So it's like music. If you love music, you understand rhythm. There's a perfect timing to blurt out those words, the perfect timing to ask for a raise. Okay, so you might have that negotiation with your boss or HR to increase your salary. So there's a perfect timing for everything. So there's a perfect timing. Don't underestimate the power of pause. So if you need to pause instead of saying okay, that will be very helpful. Next is vocabulary. So they say that knowing 1,000 words is better than knowing 10,000. So stop trying to use fancy words you don't use daily. So most of us, we want to sound smart, we want to sound intelligent. So we use very high, big words or highfalutin words or big words or fancy words. And you need to master power verbs. So in any industry, we always use these words like implement, lead, coordinate. So learn how to find those perfect word choice or right vocabulary word according to your industry. So don't just use very big words like or highfalutin words. Like you know that you can sense it when you have like a teammate who's trying to impress everyone. So you know the feeling of having someone who's trying to prove themselves. So they use very big words and very complex words that are hard to understand. Next is simplify your message to increase your speed. So simplify, make it simple. Don't be afraid to sound like uh, elementary. It's okay as long as you can convey the right words. So there are people who are very fluent, but sometimes in your industry, you can be the key person if you know the right words to use. So, for example, I have a student in finance. So he said he has a teammate who is very confident. So I'm telling him that if your teammate is so confident in English, they might not know where the money is. So you are part of the operations who know where the money is. So use that to your advantage. So you have that magic thing. You own the information. So try to use those words or appropriate choice of words that is related to that operation detail for you to communicate that to the big bosses. And don't be shy, okay? Most of the time, that's why you freeze in front of your global teammates, is that you're afraid that they will judge you. Okay, so probably you have other global teammates that are not native speakers too. So someone from India, but look at them, they can express themselves, like they can speak out, they can explain the details without uh, fearing of being judged. So it starts in your mind. Okay, so try to project yourself, like maybe in the morning in the mirror, you try to stand straight. Okay, speaking of, I'm not sitting up straight. So try to project yourself in a professional way, like be proud that you know something, you're part of a team, you're part of an international uh, company or something like that. And when you're trying to communicate, try to move your hands. Okay, don't be too stiff. Okay, try to move your hands to express yourself better. So that's one of the techniques that I use over the years. So I learned that whenever I move my hands, I sound more confident and someone with authority or with power. All right. So if you are in need of one-on-one coaching, you can go to our website. That's thenglishcrew.com/contact, or you can scan the QR code that we have on the screen. So one-on-one coaching gets you to the next level. So it's like having someone to correct you in real time. And even if you watch a lot of videos on YouTube, YouTube cannot hear you, but a coach will, and a coach can correct you. All right. So, just for a recap before we end this live stream. So, that's why you think slow. It's because you overthink. There's a cognitive load, and there's a bottleneck situation. It's like trying to fill up the the bottle with 1 gallon and thinking that the neck is too thin, so it will take a lot of time. So with our coaching, we don't make the what do you call that, we make the bottleneck wider. So that's our technique in the English crew. Okay. And yeah, so cognitive load, the more you translate, the more you need a lot of brain work. So stop translating and learn the phrases in chunks or in groups. Phrasal verbs, phrases. Don't think that you can be perfect. Okay, you can be perfect maybe after a few years, but if you're just starting now and you're around 20 plus years old, and you already learned your mother language, that will be a bit unrealistic. So try to practice every day, little by little. Okay, and using too many big words is dangerous. So keep it simple. Okay, don't overcomplicate your sentences. All right. So that ends our live stream. So I'll see you in the next one. Bye.